Welcome, one and all, to the greatest show on YouTube. Not really, but play theme music. Welcome to Wolf King's Vids. I'm your host, the illustrious Wolf King. Everybody give it up. Excellent, very good. Okay, so we're going to be dealing with one particular individual, Max Colbay, Dean Esmay, whatever his name is. He criticized secular talk over his critique of demonic possession. So we're just going to watch his video and see if it holds weight. The reason I'm making this analysis video is because Max Colbay recently had a rant, somewhat of a meltdown over a talk he had with Queen Crocoduck over some conspiracy and science against Christians. So I think this is pretty good lulz material. So let's see if we can just find the clip. Okay, there we go.
Facebook page too, by the way. We need to rename that Red Pill Religion. Okay, so joining me on Red Pill Religion tonight is our friend, someone we've spoken to before, Johan Rod. Say hello to everybody. A video called Through a Mirror Darkly to talk about and primarily.
Let's see, where's the video at?
I would characterize him as one of those people who basically made being class clown his whole identity as an adult, because of it.
Okay, let's see. Here we go.
I can. Okay, you guys can hear me just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to play about a minute of this, and then we're going to play about another minute of this training course, because more people are becoming possessed.
Okay, so this is what Koklinski from Secular Talk is criticizing.
Okay, Kyle. Okay. So, wow. Now, this is just the beginning of the video, but I want to point out here that I am actually Catholic. I was not born Catholic. I was not raised Catholic. I chose Catholicism. Okay, and in an effort to save time, I'm going to skip through the boring parts that are relevant and no one gives a damn about. So, they're all Christians. Who gives a fuck? Let's just keep going. Okay. I mean, I consider that stuff dangerous. I'm not sure they're doing one thing. I've talked to real professional witches with decades of experience doing it. I mean, I consider that fascinating information. We got a pagan on our team who knows a lot about it. A guy with a Hindu background.
This guy loves to fucking talk. I swear to... It's insane. So many words, but little substance to any of them.
Team. I haven't talked to him about it, but I think if I ask him, he'll say he believes in this regard to responding to in that regard. Here we go.
Shit.
He told Vatican Radio that there are 500,000 cases of possession in Italy alone recorded every single year. And then he blames the increase of demonic activity on the growing number of people seeking the services of tarot readers, fortune tellers, and astrologers. He also says, by the way, some of it's just psychological issues, and these people some are not actually demon possessed. I mean, obviously there are some people who it is demon possession, and so they need the exorcism. But sure, there's some people I show up to their house and I go, no, sorry, you don't have demon possession. You have paranoid schizophrenia. You have psychological issue, and you can get that treated elsewhere. But if there's genuine demon possession, that's when you call me, and it's kind of like Ghostbusters. We go in there like the Ghostbusters. You know, we have our fucking packs on, and we bring a leaf blower, and we blow it in your face. And then you go, oh, I feel better, thank you, Mr. Man in a dress who pretends like he's a superhero. So,
yeah, the 15-year-old thing gets going. But, okay, the main thing I want to ask is the Vatican has numbers. Have you documented them? Have you looked at them, sir? And have you asked exactly how they tell a psychological or even a physical problem from a demonic problem?
I mean, I don't think any person in terms of history has a consensus on being able to do that. I mean, like, I would love to see like the evidence for it. I would love to see like the hard data, like the numbers, to see if there's any empirical basis for it. I would hope it's not just some stories handed down from tradition.
Because, you know, I listen to people like Father Berenger and quite a few others who do professional exorcisms, and A, they don't wear dresses, and B, they're actually pretty well trained and do work quite often with psychologists and psychiatrists and doctors, and are sometimes even called in by.
Yeah, that none of that's true. None of that's true. There's no psychologists or psychiatrists who talk or work with exorcists. It's not focused on the DSM-5 or if I'm getting that correct. Yeah, it's disregarded. No one in the science community takes this shit seriously. Like it's just a joke. Don't even lie or try to spin it in a way to make it seem like they do. They're not. It's just hocus. It's just hokum and hocus pocus bullshit. Stop.
Medical authorities for hell. So I mean, I'm not even sure what else to say to that. Are you saying there can be no such thing as demonic possession or demonic affliction? Because actually, this is a thousands of year old stuff.
Here's the thing. Look, first off, if you have psychologists and psychiatrists there with training, with degrees, with controlled experiments, with research methods already at hand, what is the fucking point of invoking like demonic possession or anything? How the hell could you even be able to do that in some kind of laboratory setting? How would that even play out? Like, I'm still waiting on this evidence. Like, this guy just rambles on about his personal experiences.
The demonic people have been studying how to get rid of demons for thousands of years, and they have a lot of wisdom on it and an observed field experience. You know, observed field experience, which is how you do evolutionary biology.
Thousands of years. Oh, okay. So he is in fact resorting to like global anecdotes and traditions. Okay, and religion. All right.
And is how you do
religious traditions.
A few other things too through observed field experience. So are you saying there's no such thing? And that leads me to my next question. Yohanan, I mean, you're not the only one I know. There's numerous sources on this, but within contemporary science, Yohanan, is there reason to think that something like a demon might exist?
Yeah, well, I'm with you through a mirror darkly thing. Now, the automatic assumption that means that the reason we would think they wouldn't exist is if we just assume the world is just a material world. There's this empty space. There's atoms there, and atoms in the void, right? You just have molecules operating by Newtonian mechanics and Maxwell's electrodynamics, and that's all there is, right? It seems pretty naive, right? If you take what you see at face value, that's pretty naive to think that. Naively, you would think that there can't be anything spiritual because you just, your intuitions would cut against it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at our physics, though, fundamental physics, specifically when they're trying to merge quantum mechanics with relativity, general relativity, you find out that not only does the matter not exist, quantum mechanics says the matter doesn't exist, and that's been demonstrated now in the last 10 years of experiments, with numerous experiments demonstrating that. But space-time itself doesn't exist.
Okay, let me give you some background about who this guy is, right? This guy's name is Yohanan Ratz. He's I remember reading his bio. He's a physics student of some kind. I remember him calling into the atheist experience a few times and trying to use quantum woo to try to back up some belief in an immaterial mind. The problem is, here's the thing, right? What he does is he ignorantly assumes that he understands quantum mechanics on such a level that he can use it as backing for a belief in the supernatural, almost in a similar way to it's not unlike what Deepak Chopra does in the New Age movement, where he tries to use quantum mechanics to justify some deep spiritual belief in a higher entity or something of that nature. The problem is, I mean, these guys, they're not experts in quantum mechanics. Even then, like, not even the people who are quantum physicists say they have a firm grasp on the probabilistic nature of the quantum world. And anyway, what the fuck is he trying to talk about quantum mechanics to justify a belief in demonic possession? Like, I ask you.
What we're seeing is the space metric in which the particles exist. That doesn't exist either. Okay. Which is kind of spooky because that means that what you're seeing is not actually real. And that sounds quite astonishing, but then you realize that position is actually the mainstream position of quantum gravity theorists now.
The mainstream position of quantum gravity theorists is idealism and not realism.
They don't go to idealism. They don't say idealism, but they'll just say, well, in quantum mechanics, they'll say realism is falsified. There's actually been experiments.
Note how these two fuckers have completely stopped talking about demonic possession. They're just on some quantum woo bullshit. This guy even said spooky physics. You know what I think is naive? Talking about quantum physics to justify a belief in demonic possessions when you don't even understand the concept that is quantum mechanics. No one says that ever.
Experiments demonstrating first local realism was falsified in 1981, and then more recently in 2007, non-local realism was falsified, meaning both categories of realism are falsified, and therefore physical realism is false altogether. Now, that doesn't mean we're not studying something in science, right? Because obviously the objection is going to be, well, if nothing's real, how can you study it? Well, there is something real, it's just not physically real. It's meaning in physical, I mean matter and energy and space and time. And so what actually is real are, now this is going with what the mainstream is saying, not, if I go beyond that, it's actually, there's some...
Okay, you know what, I'm just going to ignore this because this has nothing to do with Kyle's video. This is just a tangent. This is a red herring, so let's just move on.
You go to idealism. Does anything exist?
The issue with our approach is,
sure, when we go into the modern...
Yeah, this is just masturbatory, like, fantasy, honestly. Okay.
World, you could define them in terms of mass and energy. So you would have, yes, that you call them demons and angels, but they would be still made of matter, as it were. They would fit into a reduced materialist. They could, in theory, fit into a materialist realist paradigm, even if it's a very weird science fiction method.
Very verbose.
Just so you know. So
of these 3-4 dimensions that we see is something operating beyond them, and might they interact with who we are?
Our world, you could define them in terms of mass, so made of matter could also be.
There would be problems with that view, and we could go more and more because people have been theorizing on this for thousands of years, because these are rational things to think. Is something operating outside of these 4 dimensions, of these 3-4 dimensions that we see, is something operating beyond them, and might they interact with who we are? When we go into the modern, when we look at the QM and
okay, let's sort of break this down because they're just rapid firing off like a ton of different ideas. Okay, let's deal with this claim. It's been going on for thousands of years. First off, that's not science. Okay, what you're doing is basically just taking things like stories and anecdotes from different cultures and places and trying to say they converge on something when they don't. They actually diverge. Like it's not a convergent model. As more physical evidence is gathered, the more robust model is formed as a result of that consensus data, right? You have a divergent model where all of these interactions, it's based on like the place, the people, the memory, the time period. It's just all over the place. All right, it's a poor model. It has zero predictive capability. So, I mean, you could theorize about a bunch of things, but if you don't have any concrete hard data to back it up, you're just blowing smoke. You're just pulling it out of thin air. That's nice for sci-fi, but it's not good for science.
astonishing number of people who are very good with quantum mechanics and know a lot about it turn spiritual because they're studying quantum physics. I want to point people to another interesting book to read called The Physics of Angels, Exploring the Realm Where Science and Spirit Meet, by Rupert Sheldrake, a quite credible scientist who's turned in a lot of successful peer-reviewed studies. Amongst many other things, he's shown that there's real evidence.
Yeah, he's been sort of disregarded because of the quantum woo stuff. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. But yeah, that stuff's sort of been disregarded in the scientific community. Just saying. You don't believe me? You could just check the sources.
Evidence that dogs may be somewhat telepathic with their owners.
Oh my fucking god! Let's just move on. This just silly. Talking about dogs being telepathic with their owners.
Information, right? If I like both, then just one or the other, not which, but it's emergent. You should be able to, right?
Oh, good point. All right, yeah. What
you can, because you can.
Oh my!
Red. Okay. I'll cut the picture red in half. Okay, I'll visualize the neurons and between the two pixels. Right? Can you see it there? Red sees. Well, there ain't no with those terms.
I'm probably never doing this again. They talk so much.
They're not.
I mean, what's the point even watching a video?
Your will just exists.
Shut the.
In front of.
For fuck's sake, shut the fuck up.
They're like, fucking tarot readers. Tarot readers are getting an edge on us, guys. Come on. We're the Catholic Church. We gotta stay in front of people like this. This is bullshit. We gotta stay up. What the fuck, man? So they're mad. The tarot readers are getting attention, fortune tellers, astrologers. And they're like, because, you go, take for example, you go to like Atlantic City in New Jersey, and you can go get your fucking fortune read or whatever. People in the Vatican look at them and they go, fuck, there's competition for the bullshit in this area. And this is something we've seen Pat Robertson express.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much about Pat Robertson, and I know Catholics and evangelicals don't always get along, but I'm going to bet that on this one we're going to be pretty unified. I want to recommend again this book, An Exorcist Explains the Demonic. This is written by the chief exorcist of the Vatican shortly before he died a couple of years ago, and it represents the summation of a man who...
I swear, he spends the majority of this video just shilling books out that support his bullshit to people. It's just ridiculous. He doesn't deal with the actual points being made. Yeah, superstition has to compete with other superstition. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. None of this stuff is actually backed by scientific inquiry or rational discourse. It's just superstition and mythology. That's all it is. Just that exists in the minds of paranoid people. It's not. There's not anything there. I mean, he's not responding to it. Just all right. Let's just move on.
He's not just made his whole career out of fighting the demonic, but has been trained in an institution that has been recognized as an expert on the demonic for quite some time. Governments and even corporate entities will sometimes bring in the Vatican to consult on the demonic. They're considered the go-to people worldwide for expertise on these things. Why would you suggest that they don't?
Well, for people who believe in this stuff, people who actually think that, like mental illnesses or interactions with the brain or some kind of certain behavior is the result of something demonic or supernatural.
I don't know what they're talking about. What is your evidence? That would be number one. And the number two thing I would point out, and either one of you can, like Christian, you haven't gotten to jump in yet or not. Everything I know, I've talked to pagan. I got a pagan on my team, and I've interviewed pagan shaman and witches and
what the hell does that matter? Their superstitious bullshit is just as invalid as yours. It's still subject to the same scrutiny and objective study as any supposed phenomena that's going on. It's the burden of proof is on you to actually have this conversion model that people should adopt. You fail to demonstrate its utility.
People from other religions, and we all agree the demonic is real. And in fact, we would even agree, I would even agree as a Christian, there are pagans who can help you get rid of certain demonic problems. Now, a good Christian will say, yeah, but he's likely to give you
I mean, I would hope that you'd have something more substantive than just books. I mean, from people who have basically sold snake oil their whole life.
Another demonic problem. I'm not going to get into that argument. This is a secular show. There are other people besides Christians who can expel demons or help with
the reason for that is I actually do think they can.
Deny that. We don't. My point is, we don't deny that.
There's a mechanics to it. The reason is there's a mechanics to it, and this is what I wanted to get into with. I brought in the whole quantum cognition thing before, right?
Yep.
Okay, before this guy gets into the whole quantum woo bullshit. Yeah. The demonic possession helps so much. It is really just a benefit to the world. I mean, you could just look at the UK. There are some churches that are rooted in certain beliefs from either Oceania or like the West African traditions, right? There are some that basically like who believe in demonic possession and basically taking people who are mentally ill, people who either have schizophrenia or some other kind of like mental affliction, right? They'll tell them to stop taking their medication occasionally, and they will like try to do these exorcist acts on them. And if their mental affliction gets worse, they'll say that the demon has won or they just don't have enough faith. I mean, that's basically the big help that these activities lead to, you know, like denying medical science and focusing on paranoid bullshit. Yeah, you're doing a real help. You guys are the freaking vanguard of the world for what you guys are doing right now. Yeah. Keep supporting that superstitious bullshit. Keep doing it. It helps. Helps you look like fucking clowns.
With ice cream. Okay, I want to point something out here. The mathematics that describes that is the mathematics of information in Hilbert space. Okay. Now, the crazy thing is that information in Hilbert space shows up in that emergent space-time model. Okay, and this is even, you know, atheist Sean Carroll, naturalist atheist Sean Carroll brings up the notion of emergent space-time. Okay. Space-time emerging from Hilbert space. Okay, so this is
okay. Let's just move on. This guy he just likes to pontificate on bullshit he doesn't really understand.
And this goes into Platonism and like.
Okay, so it's
okay. Back to the video.
Articles trying to debunk and attack Richard Gallagher, and what you'll notice is diagnoses and treats the demonic. He if you is a board-certified psychiatrist and professor of clinical psychiatry at New York Medical College. If you look him up, here's an article on him in the National Catholic Register. He is a teacher. He is also an assistant professor of clinical psychiatry at the New York University School of Medicine. He diagnoses and treats the demonic. He even goes into how he can tell a potential demonic case from a normal psychiatric case. He can do it. Now, if you look online, you will find that the ideological skeptics in the same little skeevy network that Kyle Kalinske.
Okay, so he managed to find one guy who happens to believe in this stuff and be a psychiatrist. That's nice. I would hope that this can follow a trend. I would hope that this minority opinion could somehow, you know, have the hard data to, you know, make it like the majority like paradigm or model, you know. That'd be nice.
Is part of have written popular articles trying to debunk and attack Richard Gallagher, and what you'll notice is every one of them attacking him is unqualified in this area and is not as qualified as he is, just on professional qualifications.
Well, you know what? I tell you what. Let's let the experts decide on whether or not his views have substance, and go back to the video. Let's just do that.
And then he also goes in and describes
the mind should be able to influence, or the biggest one was 9/11.
These guys just talk forever. Holy shit!
And furthermore, I know a signal.
Like we all know, bro. We all know you love to talk. You love to fucking run that mouth. God damn. Like shit.
Being able to influence the random.
Can we get back to the video?
Guys over here that in
saying there is that we have genuine scientific evidence that people and what they think and their behavior can influence random number generators, or random number generations can be influenced by them, which is just more of the idea that
it's like tangent after tangent after tangent. Like, Jesus, like, what's the point of even having this video? Like, watching it.
Materialist.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead. And I want to ask these published.
For fuck's sake. You want to ask something?
Make sure. Why would anybody trust the expertise of Kyle Kulinski over Richard Gallagher or another guy I've mentioned, a guy like...
that is a very good thing, and I'm going to explain what...
Let me do this. Let me mention another guy named Stafford Bates.
Okay. Fuck all this. Fuck all this. God damn.
We need to.
This too. Pat Robertson really gets mad at Dungeons and Dragons. He does this on his show.
No, he doesn't. By the way, I got the wrong part. Pat Robertson is a very different strain of Christian.
Yeah, he actually does. You should watch his material. Like, Right Wing Watch gets him all the time, bitching about Halloween, like complaining about like movies, horror movies, friggin' like card games, like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, that's right up his alley. Like, forget. Like, I'm pretty sure he complained about Pokemon Go at one point. So yeah. Anything that's popular and secular, you guys bitch about. Y'all love to do that, so shut the fuck up.
From me, but I think he's probably being unkind to Pat Robertson. Let's play this last bit here.
Yeah, hurry up.
They want you to buy into their totally unproven belief system and don't allow in any fortune tellers or anything like that. So
okay, so I just wanted to get that point in because he's lying. All right. What the Vatican will tell you is what most Christians will tell you is that we think that demonic and spirit forces are real. We think things like astrology and palmistry and tarot are dangerous. And in fact, we have even things and practices we can do to alleviate that. But they think all those things are dangerous because they do bring in the demonic. Now, you don't have to agree, and people from other religions don't agree, and I'm not...
Oh, shit, I thought religions all agreed. So you don't agree? My sister, my mother, blah, 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 blah. Jesus, can't keep his freaking story straight.
To have that debate, but to claim that this is anything new, no, the church has been saying for thousands of years, don't play with that stuff because it's bad for you. Not don't play with it because it's evil, but don't play with it because it doesn't work. Don't play with it because it's necessarily going.
Yeah, and while you guys have been doing that for thousands of years, and basically just residing in primitive bullshit, science has been progressing. They've been advancing the human condition. We've been unlocking the secrets of the subatomic, the biological world with evolution and different species, and with unlocking like different stars and planets and galaxies and potential universes. Like, meanwhile, you guys are talking about demons and freaking quantum woo-woo bullshit. Like, yeah, you guys are real freaking geniuses here. You guys are masters of the universe. Give me a break.
Going to destroy you. Don't play with it because you're playing with fire. And by the way, when you have problems that result from playing with it, we have these experts, some of them exorcists, some of them with different expertise, who will help you undo the damage if you've messed yourself up with those things. So don't pretend that that's, he's not even getting the motivation right. Christians believe the stuff is all dangerous, or at least most do.
Why the hell should he care about the motivation of, like, why would that matter? Honestly, what matters is the fact that your model has predictive capability. If it has utility to people actually accepting it. If it doesn't, if it lacks, if it's divergent, what is the point of taking it seriously or even holding it in any high regard, absent of religious devotion to it? There is none. I challenge you to find any justification for that. Go ahead.
Some will quibble and some will say,
straw man.
the Vatican takes a real strong line position on that.
That's because this Kyle Kalinske guy has a really limited view of what's going on, and so he's kind of imputing motives based on what he would do if he thought it was the case. But
yeah, where's his evidence? Where's his evidence?
Now, I want to point out. I want to point out something. This is to follow up from before. That thing I told you about the Hilbert space.
Yeah. Where's his evidence that demonic possession is complete nonsense? Yeah, where's his evidence? It's not like it's not backed up by scientific inquiry or some kind of theory or something like that. Give me a break.
Right. There's a shared inner space that virtual reality emerges from, right? There's nothing in principle
or
our minds have to be, entangled patterns if the quantum cognition is correct in our brains, right? But there's nothing barring the possibility of other entangled patterns existing in the Hilbert space behind space-time with no attachment to a physical avatar, as it were. And they could be, they could behave like they could be minds. It's quantum cognition back there. There's nothing that would bar some other information pattern, you might say, in a very third-person clinical sense of the term, being existing back there in Hilbert space and doing stuff that we're not aware of. And
well, man, my mind is completely blown, brah. Yeah, demons are real, bro, because in some virtual reality there could be other minds, and in that hypothetical world it could be like this and that. It's like, what? Just verbal masturbation. Yeah, being verbose, that's a good way to filibuster through an argument.
And manipulating stuff and maybe, I don't know, possessing people's minds or quote unquote hacking the matrix and causing stuff to levitate.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Or interact with Ouija boards, etc. There's nothing that would limit that. And so let's just get rid of
There'd be nothing limiting that. Okay. Yeah, there'd be nothing limiting that in that hypothetical world. All right. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that little narcissistic dream you had there.
The word non-local information.
Natural way to do science. And if you think psychiatry is science, but study of the demonic is not, please explain what is the difference. And please explain where you have proven that psychiatry works better or more reliable. Please show where you've proven that, because we've given more than enough evidence that qualified scientists and medical people have gone out there and said they think these things are real, and they've worked with them professionally. And now we've just listened to and given you references for books that explain why within contemporary physics it's completely rational to think there might be these spirit forces, whether they're...
Well, okay. Let me explain what he did throughout the majority of this video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch much else of this. So what he did here is he watched a few snippets of Kyle Kalinsky's video criticizing demonic possession, and he basically used as evidence like these books from various authors who are all but the minority in like the views that they hold, and like all but complete inaccurate, unscientific, like individuals claiming that exorcisms are somewhat empirical in nature, when really, I mean, it's just based on divergent occurrences, reduced down to mere psychological issues and mental health problems. I mean, here's the thing: if there are psychologists already there who are doing like controlled experiments and looking into like the behaviors and the mental health issues that the patients have, like, what's the point in invoking exorcisms absent of some religious belief in them? I mean, it's just irrelevant. There's nothing here. It's just a divergent model that has no predictive capabilities. That's it. No more, no less. And resorting to quantum mechanics like that does absolutely nothing. That's just a red herring. So I'm not even gonna pay that any mind.
You want to call them demons, ghosts, little gods, little with a little g, whatever. It's perfectly rational to think they exist. So we have rational reason to think they exist, and we have thousands of years of reporting on them, including current people. What's your justification for saying you can get it all down to psychiatry? I want to know what science you used to conclude, Kyle, that you can get it down to psychiatry. What's your evidence?
Yeah, because exorcisms are not scientific experiments. Church history, thousands of years of tradition is not science. Hypothesizing that there could be minds that you could interpret and speculate on forever to be like ghosts or demons or whatever the hell you want to call them, that is not science. That is nothing. Those are just mere thought experiments and anecdotes and speculation. That's it. It's nothing substantive. So yeah, your burden has not been met. Demonic possession still remains to be mere superstition.
There, that's my question.
He's just adaptive materialist.
Final to say?
He's just adaptive materialist, that's what.
Oh, I know. He's just a very, very primitive thing.
I'd like to add on something a little bit here, just briefly, about, you mentioned why people would trust him over other people.
Yeah.
And it's very subtle. A lot of people, the way people think is very, they don't like to think for themselves. They like to be told what to think, okay? But now, think about this is...
They like to be told what to think. Dude, this guy's been talking forever and pontificating on quantum woo-woo. But yeah, Kyle just wants to tell people what to think. He's criticizing demonic possession. Oh my God.
They have a sense of, this is a psychological trick of sorts, okay? They have a kind of a dominant or a recessive kind of psychological trait. And the dominant trait is very few will have that, but more people have the recessive one where they will kind of, quote unquote, sympathize you, okay? And we're saying, well,
this guy has Dunning-Kruger issues. He's trying to psychoanalyze Kyle Kulinski. That's amazing. Wow, a guy you've never met. You're gonna psychoanalyze. You're gonna do armchair psychology on him. Okay, that's fine. All right, because all right.
Because it's religion, therefore you're reacting to this. You have a religious agenda, etc., or you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're not. That's not the official story, okay? Well, the knowledge claims themselves are the same. The claim that it's true and the claim that it's false are both the same on face value. I mean, you investigate the evidence on both cases. Now, if you're
not really. I mean, they're directly opposed. Like whether or not they have like some truth value, that depends on the evidence.
Intelligent, the fact that one comes from a quote unquote conspiracy kook who may get it wrong, a bunch of the time, but may get it right 1% of the time, and the fact that there is, the other one is a mainstream news organization says it. Those two, the fact that one is mainstream news, the other one is conspiracy, shouldn't weigh your decision on whether or not to believe it at all in either direction, right?
Right.
It should stand as is. But the catch is just as a guess, that you take, a room full of 10 people and play both there. And what do you think? Which one do you think is going to be believed more?
People do follow
the mainstream. They follow the crowd. They follow the leader, and they do so based on the belief that one is the correct official story. Okay.
Yep.
The problem is because this is built into human psychology. You have this recessive way of, accepting this stuff.
This almost sounds like the genetic fallacy, honestly. Like that's all this sounds like. This guy's riddled with like bad reasoning skills. Like that's all that is. Okay, is there anything else?
Saying, and you don't have to do it the way I do it, but I want everybody to notice how we do it on Red Pill Religion. You can do it your own way, or you can come and learn for us and then go and adapt your style to something else. The most important thing to realize with these people is that they are ideologues, in many cases paid ideologues to push a message. Many of them, if they're not ideologues and they're not being paid, they've still got ego wrapped up in this. They don't want to admit to being wrong. They've got prestige on the line. And
I want to point out.
Wow, that's not projection. All right, I think I have enough. Like this is this has been fun, but yeah, getting a little tired of that. Okay. So yeah, that was Dean Esmay defends demonic possessions. I wasn't really impressed with a lot of the methods that they employed. Not very good, not very good tactical planning on their part. Very poor, very poor reasoning. You know, like it was riddled with fallacies, red herrings, tangents, like that, and that Johan guy. That I'm not surprised Matt Dillon got tired with dealing with that fool. Like all he does is want to talk in like these virtual reality, quantum woo world experiments. Man, that just seems ridiculous. Yeah, so I guess that's my takedown of him. Uh he seems very much like an ideologue himself. He tends to rant and go on these long monologues that lead nowhere. I mean, I don't even see what was the point of them even watching the video. I mean, they just they just go on for like for forever and ever, like perpetually. Like geez, like they I don't think they like hardly they barely even engaged in the whole notion of demonic possession. It's not like they said like, hey, there's this one experiment you could take with a person who has this angry kind of mindset, who's possessed by a non-physical mind, or there's this way to detect this non-physical mind, or that has this malevolent intent or anything like that, or some kind of. I mean, you could. I mean, the closest thing I could say is like there was the James Randi prize of $1 million. If you can demonstrate anything supernatural or paranormal, you get $1 million. Like, I'm pretty sure there have been people who claim that they could demonstrate demonic possession was real, but this thing hasn't occurred yet. They have a divergent model. That's all they have at the end of the day. It's not substantive. It's not effective, and it's just it's just lacking in every sort of every sense of the word. But that's my takedown of it. That's my analysis. I'm not very impressed. I'm not surprised that King Crocoduck like basically just humiliated him during his little meltdown not too long ago. But that's all I gotta say about that. That's my 2 cents. I'm gonna be out. All right, this has been Wolf King. Peace out. If you like this video, you know what to do. Stop out there to know. And let me just give Dean a little bit of advice. Listen, if you want your superstitious nonsense to be taken seriously, you have to come objective with it. You can't come at it as if this is a matter of faith thing, because that's just not how we do it when it comes to like an empirical basis. That's just not how free thought works. But yeah, when you're ready to open your mind to the possibilities of this massive universe, then maybe we can have a discussion. But I doubt that. I'm dubious. All right, take care, guys. Love you. Bye.